Hello again, Power Up with Pride. This is ShadowWalker227 with my third of three marathon submission videos. This is the Chaos Shuffle flag set that I have prepared. This is essentially as randomized as Final Fantasy Randomizer can be. Entrances are shuffled, dungeon layouts are shuffled, so if I enter into a volcano floor entrance, that doesn't mean that I have found Gurgu Volcano. It means that I have found an entrance and the first floor is Volcano. Anything can be anywhere. There are a lot of loose items, so we're going to be opening basically all of the chests as we're going along, trying to find everything. We are going to be having to kill the 4 fiends. In addition, though, that is not going to open the way to Chaos. That is going to open the way to the to an alternate final boss fight. So this is going to be a very hard flag set. Enemy scaling is as high as it can go, 20% to 500%, and boss scaling is 100% to 300%. So bosses have a minimum of 100% stats. This is also a forced party to start off with. I cannot change this. It will be a thief, black belt, white mage, black mage. But along the way I will find taverns that I can rehire different party members. This is probably going to be upwards of a 3-hour run. That is the estimate that I have figured for this flag set. It could go faster than that. It could go, well, it shouldn't go longer than that. A 3-hour run would be if basically everything was going wrong already. I don't actually expect it to take a full 3 hours. But it's always best to be conservative, so. Alright, and we'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. So right off the bat, I want to check this entrance and see what's here. We have the Dwarf Cave. So that's nice. That gives us a couple of chests right off the bat. We'll check what is in our level 1 shops. We also got a good pile of money from the dwarves, so that's pretty handy. Level 1, we've got Fog 2 and Life, so those are going to be some very valuable pickups. The ability to revive my party members as I'm going along is going to be very helpful. Okay, so this is not the most powerful, like, direct damaging start. But these are going to be some really good spells. Temper is going to buff the attack power of a single party member. Lock is going to reduce the enemy's evasion. And Zap is an AoE instant kill. So definitely some strong options for us. And we don't have any save items in Corneria, but we do have access to heal potions. So that's a plus. So we're going to stock up on a bunch of items. We will come back for some more heal potions, but first I want to check our weapon and armor shops. Iron Nunchucks are going to be a big bonus for our black belt. It's going to do a lot more damage than his unarmed attack at this point in the game. And there's nothing we can use in the armor shop. So we have at least a couple of melee weapons to get ourselves started. So that's going to be a little bit of a help. And we're going to just buy as many heal potions as we can carry right now, just to be prepared, because this could be a long road ahead of us. 5, 6, and 7. Hey, Hyra fellows! This is my marathon submission, the last marathon submission that I'm turning into the Power Up with Pride marathon. This is Chaos Shuffle, and if you want to see what I'm running, you can type !flags and see just what fresh heck is in store for this run. It is definitely going to be fun. This is the kind of flag set that I really enjoy, where everything is just turned all the way to the max, as crazy as it can get. Basically, we've got any enemies anywhere, any items anywhere, all sorts of nastiness. All of the normal conveniences are turned off. So, this is going to be a run. We are getting some great turn order Unfortunately, our luck seems to have run out here. But that's okay. We just want to check what's at this Provoca entrance. Man, this is a really bad encounter table. Like, holy crap, this is a bad encounter table. That was a lot of fights all in a row. Uh-huh. You don't say. I did work for you last night as a black belt, or a black mage. Yeah. You know, everybody undervalues the black mage. They're so good, though. Oh, yes! Oh, that's so good. Okay, now we just have to run away to safety. Perfect. That gets us some starting levels. 2 Thief, 2 Black Mage? Yeah, that sounds like a brutal seed. We are going to fight these imps. That'll get Jack at least some levels, since he missed out on the experience points from the eyes. But getting to level 8 right away is a huge help. These starting levels are the real hurdle of this kind of flag set. And getting some spell charges for my white mage and my black mage is going to help a lot. That is super valuable. Alright, so once again, we're going to try and see what we can find in the Provoca entrance. We don't want to fight heirs. That is not what we are after. Okay, so we've got a couple of chests here that are pretty easy to access. Cabin. That kind of makes me want to escape and use it. Okay, good. So we actually found the end of this dungeon already. So just a couple of chests here. We did find a pro cape. That's pretty nice. We are going to put that on our black mage since he's the only one that actually has any killing power right now. And hopefully we're going to escape with these items. That is a lot of absorb, and I want to be able to save that. There we go. So we never have to go to Provoca again. That was a dead end. Mud Ghouls are actually low on magic resist, so potentially Zap could get some kills there. We are entering into bad encounter territory again, it looks like. Not what we want. Fortunately, the thief is doing work, doing his job and running away from these fights. Oh, except not that one. Get me out. Get me out. There we go. Alright. So many fights. This is not at all what we want. We're going to try and see what is at Matoya's. Be really nice if we could find another town. Well, we found Bahamut's lair, except that it might not be Bahamut. It is, well, today it is in fact Bahamut. I am playing with a flag called Objective NPCs, so there are 3 NPCs in the game that you turn an item into, and they trigger like a world event, essentially. Bahamut gives you the promotion, the Elf Doctor revives the Prince when you give him the herb, and Dr. Un translates the slab for you. And those 3 NPCs are allowed to be shuffled in location. So we know that Bahamut is where he normally is. So that takes care of one mystery, but those other 2, Dr. Un and the Elf Doctor, could be shuffled. So we could see an Elf Doctor in Melmond and Dr. Un in the Elfland Castle, or they could be vanilla. It's hard to say just yet. Okay. Well, we have located a Fiend dungeon. I am going to scout to see what Fiend this is, because I am playing with the Fiend Orb Shuffle. So, despite this being the normal home of Kraken, this could be any of the 4 Fiends. And I do have Zap, so I could get potentially lucky and get an instant kill on a Fiend. And that would give me one of my orbs already. Not even worth healing. We have Tiamat. So we're going to try and throw out the zap. This is Tiamat. Oh, Tiamat's hurting a lot. More than likely, this is going to just be a party wipe, but if I land the zap, then that's one less fiend that I'll have to kill. So, ineffective. Zap has a very low chance to work here. It is likely not going to, but we're going to try, and now our Black Mage is dead. So off we go. We know we don't need to come back here until much later. So next stop is Dwarf Cave. That is the next entrance that we can get to. And boy, this encounter table is rough, and the bulls are really hurting. Did I mention they're really hurting? Give me a town, please. Alright, well, at least wolves and gorewolves are susceptible to zap, so we're gonna throw that out there, and hopefully we can get to Dwarf Cave, and hopefully it's a town. There's a lot of hopefully in that statement. It is the waterfall. Well, that's interesting, but not what I'm after right now. There is going to be an incentive item there, but I really need a town. I really need to be able to buy some camping gear. Northwest Castle is Ice Cave. That is another incentive location. Yeah, ProcGen Waterfall as well, so I don't even know the right path to go to get my incentive items, so I'm going to have to explore that dungeon. Yeah, Hyro, when I said that this was randomized, I meant that it's really randomized. Okay, well, we found another of our fiends. This is also a incentive location. Give me a town? No town. Okay. So we're going to go to Marsh Cave, and we're going to hopefully find a town there. And if we don't find a town there, this is going to be a very rough start. That is probably going to involve some grinding. Because we don't have any access to any saving items. We have no camping gear, no tents, no cabins. So, it's a little bit rough. And that's unrunnable. Alright, so where is a place with chests? That's really what I need at this point. We're going to try to go to Marsh Cave, and if we can't make it to Marsh Cave in a run, then we're going to have to try to find something to dig. Oh, good. Gurpedes are unrunnable as well. So, once again, we're going to zap because we don't really have other options. This is a situation where I really badly need to find at least another town, preferably Provoca or Elfland. Provoca has level 2 spells, and Elfland has level 3 and 4 spells. And if I don't find one of those two, I'm going to have a really rough start. Be so tempted to just sit outside Corneria using Zap. Well, I mean, I'm already like level 8 on all my characters except the Thief. The problem is I don't have a way to actually kill things. Okay, so I can't kill that Gurpede. Yeah, Hyro, we do know that there is a 2 to 3 eye fight up north of Corneria, so worst case scenario, we can always go after that. It'll take a little bit of luck to get up there and get that kill, but I don't have a whole lot of other options. Fortunately, we're getting some decent luck with running away from these fights. So please be a town. Well, it's not a town, but this is an incentive location. We got the herb. That's not terribly helpful right now. Boy. This is not the kind of fight we want. Oh, but we got away. Oh, that's Stone Touch. Yep, that's Stone Touch. Alright, so new plan. We're going to go and try and farm eyes. We found them somewhere over here-ish. So we did a hard reset to find out what is our first encounter off a power cycle. It is not eyes, and it is in fact lobsters with fire 2. Not what we want. Not eyes. Not eyes. Unrunnable. Dead unrunnable. That was... four or five already. This is too far off a power cycle to be really advantageous, but we are going to hopefully get this kill in. There's one. There's two. Alright, so there's level 10. At this point, the iron nunchucks will no longer be advantageous. So I guess we'll revive the thief, even though he's not really helping a whole lot. At least he'll have the ability to run away. And put him in the second slot and keep him a little bit safer. So we'll do a power cycle here, just to kind of figure out where our encounters are as we're going through, I guess, Waterfall, since it's the closest location. So there's Azombull. Unrunnable slimes. Perfect. This is everything we want in our life. That was a heavy dose of sarcasm. We are likely dead here. They're more susceptible to zap than I realized. There goes the thief again. And now our black mage is stunned. So this is a start. Certainly not a good start, but it's a start. Okay, so we definitely don't want to deal with unrunnable slimes. So those unrunnable slimes were the third encounter off the power cycle. So now we've had 5 fights off the power cycle. So I'm tracking all these fights because I'm considering my options for trying to manipulate the encounter table as I'm going along here. Looking specifically at, like, fights that I need to be able to avoid. So I need to be able to avoid the metal slimes, which are the third fight. And right now we're at 6 fights off a power cycle. Well, at least those both dead end fairly quickly. We're going to try going north this time. There we go. Mad Ponies. This is not a bad trap tile. We can avoid this. A Power Gauntlet. Well, that's a thing. That is going to allow our black belt to power up and be able to do a lot of damage. Mad Ponies have Death Touch. Today I learned. Alright, so we found our incentive item. We know it's not required. I'm going to mark down that the Power Gauntlet is here. And if we end up not being able to escape with it, I'm not going to come back for it. Not yet, anyway. That could be something that I look for later in the game, but right now it's not going to help me with progression. Okay, so far so good. Looks like we're going to possibly be able to escape with the Power Gauntlet. If we don't get killed by this Mad Pony. There we go. That was dangerous. Oh, I also need to remember that my white mage has life. I could have resurrected some party members and made this run much safer. There we go. We used enough heal potions that I want to stock back up because I can't get anywhere without running a long way, so I will likely need to spam heal potions quite a bit in this run. So there we go. We save our progress. We now have banked that Power Gauntlet, and we never have to go back to the waterfall. So now where? Now I think it's probably on to the ice cave. I probably should have done a hard reset before trekking over to this ice cave so I can track my encounters here, but that's okay. So there are a couple chests on this first floor that are a bit annoying to get to. Fortunately, we can run away from these waters. Hopefully we don't lose party members too quickly here. There we go. So we need to keep all of our characters topped off as best we can as we're running along here. Zap is basically my only way to kill things, so it feels pretty bad, but we're doing what we can. Another Pro Cape is really handy. That's going to give us some more absorb on our White Mage, who's going to be able to revive our party members. Guard and Sentry are going to do a lot of damage. Fortunately, I got a first turn run on them. So that's nice. 2 fighters. I would love to actually be able to kill these guys. They're worth a ton of experience points. There's a canal. So that's our first loose item. there are 7 loose incentive items altogether, which may or may not be required. That fighter actually was not punching for a lot of damage. That is something I could look at coming back for. So I'm just taking down notes in my tracker here, reminding myself that there is a fighter encounter tile that I could potentially grind some levels on. We have a cube. That is our second loose item. So 2 of our 7 loose items already. That's really nice. So this ice cave hasn't been too dangerous yet. So that's really nice. T-Rex are worth a ton of EXP, so even though Zap has a really low chance of landing, I was going to throw it out there just in case it actually got a kill. Because getting that much experience points is very, very nice. The Saurias are also worth a good amount of EXP, so... basically anything that's worth good experience points, I'm going to be trying to kill. Even though it's rather random, since Zap has a pretty low accuracy. It has a low accuracy because of the fact that it is Time Elemental, and the only enemy in the game to resist Time Element is Chaos, the final boss. There are just so many loose items here. This is crazy. And that is a camping item. So, if we can just get through this last loop here... Okay, arachnids are not bad. This should be pretty easy for us to take out. So, hopefully we don't see anything nasty on our way out of here, and we can actually escape this dungeon with all of these items that we have found, and be able to immediately save that progress. That's really huge for us, actually. The ship. Okay, so that's both the ship and the canal, so this is definitely where progression was. So at this point, we are basically locked into needing to clear this dungeon. We're getting decent run luck so far. Just a few steps to go. Again, these enemies are worth some really good experience points, so I'm going to throw out the Zap just in case I can get some kills. Except now I only have one party member left. Oh my goodness, Jack, please. Jack. No! No, Jack. Dang it! Okay. Well, we know where our progression is, so we're going in off a power cycle. Okay, and we basically have to do the entire dungeon again because all of those were good. We can skip the first 2 items, so those weren't any incentive items. Okay, we'll be able to make a little bit faster progress this time around. Because now that I know where the items are in the dungeon, I can minimize the number of steps that I'm taking. And unfortunately our white mage goes down. That's not very good for us. Right. Unrunnable Gurpy. Okay. So we don't want the unrunnable Gurpeed on our way, so we can't just afford to do a power cycle before going through here. So again, we know where progression is, we just have to be able to get through this dungeon. And escape with that house. So that way we can save our progress. So there's our canal. Keep all of our characters at full HP. And unfortunately, we have to take this trap tile because the house is behind it. No, it wasn't. I was just wrong. There's that T-Rex again. Really need that house. Ogres are something I could kill. There we go, got some levels for the thief at least. Was the house behind the canal? Was that where it was? No, there it was. Okay, good. Alright, so we're going to reduce the evasion of these arachnids, that way they're a little bit easier to hit. They're being a bit too evasive for me. And we're going to punch out the rest of these guys. There we go. So that is our canal, our ship, and our bottle. Now we just have to, again, escape this dungeon. We can do this. And this is a good bit of progression, so again, assuming we can actually get out of here, we should be in good shape. That'll open up Melmond, Earth Cave, Titan Tunnel East, and a couple other entrances for us too. Alright. So we need to go get our ship. And then we need to find a town. That is the next priority. So there's our ship. We're going to go up to Corneria so we can save our game with the ship. We're going to try fighting these mud gulls. They don't have a lot of magic resist, so I should be able to kill them with Zap. Assuming they don't punch out my Black Mage. Or I'm going to get terribly unlucky. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use a heal potion here. We're going to use Fog 2 to raise our party's defense. go. Now we're in much better shape to be able to survive these guys punching me. Note that I said better and not perfect. So with only one left, I'm going to focus on using Temper to be able to make my black belt punch harder rather than trying to just evade them. Because with just one, I can focus on straight damage. There we go. Now we're starting to do some good damage. Alright, so Jack is healing himself up. There's our last temper charge. There we go. We actually killed something by punching it out. Feels pretty good. Okay. So we're going to stack back up on some items. We are going to set off a sailing in hopes that we can find a town. We haven't seen any towns yet other than our starting town of Corneria, so they have to be in there somewhere. Know that this is a dungeon of some sort. We will try fighting an Agama. Agamas are worth a lot of experience points, and again, only one enemy, so I can focus on straight damage, or he's going to punch me very hard. That's okay, we're not going to give up. Losing a thief is not the end of the world. There we go, we got plenty of tempers now. We're not taking very much damage. Now he's rather evasive, so we're going to look at reducing his evade, making it easier for us to hit him. Still rather evasive. Alright, so 120 less evasion. Now we should be hitting him pretty regularly. Or not, because he just has a ton of evade. Agama does not want to die. There we go. Alright. So there's a good bit more experience points for us. We're going to go back and restore our spell charges because that used all of my resources to kill that one enemy. And poor Jack really just does not want to stay alive. He's having a rough time. Alright, so we don't have the canoe, so we can access 3 different entrances on this Melmond continent. We can access the Melmond entrance itself, which is a dungeon. I gotta find a town. I want to really explore that, but I gotta find a town. Ghosts are absolutely not what I want in my life. These guys are going to punch me really hard. Alright, so another Fog 2. Stack that Absorb as much as I can. And I really need to land this Zap. But it does not want to land. There's one. One to go. Alright. So, no dice. Again, I really need a much better killing spell than Zap. Zap has the ability to work on multiple targets, but it has very low accuracy to make up for the fact that almost nothing in the game resists it, so... Not exactly the most, not exactly the best option for me at this point in time. I'd really like to see like Ice 3 or Lit 3. Nuke would be awesome. So Titan's Tunnel East is Matoya's Cave. I wanted to go ahead and check this since that first floor didn't have any encounters. We found a ribbon. That's really nice. Oh, we don't have the second Pro Cape anymore. That's sad. Oh, I also need to remember that I have a Power Gauntlet. So those situations where I am forced into an unrunnable fight, I can just use the Power Gauntlet and buff my black belt a lot more. Okay, Kareebs also don't have that much HP, so that's pretty good news. Oh, a town! Finally, a town! Oh, we can hire black belts here. That is something worth considering. Invis 2 and Heal 3 are going to be really nice pickups. Finally, we have a good healing option, and Invis 2 raises the whole party's evades, so definitely something I always want to see. Lit 3, Hold, and Warp. I will take all three of these options. That's finally going to give me killing power. It's going to give me dungeon exploration ability with Warp, and we are going to be in much better shape. Now I can use Warp to just quickly go back a level, which will help a lot, and might even be enough for me to consider going and trying to grind those fighters that I found earlier. But first, we're going to kill Bicky and his pirate crew. Oh, I should have used Lit 3. Lit 3 would have been a guaranteed kill. Zap is not a guaranteed kill. It's going to be very successful on these pirates. They have very low magic defense, but I could be done with this fight already. There we go. So pirate's down. And Bicky hands over the floater. Okay. Okay, we are in much better shape now. Oh, and houses are the cheapest houses in the world. So there we go. There's all the houses we're going to need for the rest of the game. Much better shape now. And gold bracelets. So we finally have armor for our characters. This is what we needed in our lives. Gold Bracelet is the second best equipment for mages. Well, actually third best for the mages for body armor. Opal Bracelet is the strongest absorb. A white shirt or a black shirt has the same defense power as a gold bracelet, but they provide additional resistances, and the gold bracelet is right after those shirts. Alright, so we have the floater. We are going to go check out we're going to go to the Ryukon Desert and pick up our airship. Assuming we don't die right here, which, you know, that could happen. Okay, those guys have more HP than I want to deal with. Okay, so priority 1 is getting that airship. That airship is going to increase our exploration speed immensely. So we are going to go get that before we do anything else. Okay. So we've located 2 of our fiends already. We actually have already done the Ice Cave dungeon. We did the waterfall. So this is going to open up the rest of the world very quickly. Now we can fly around the world. That's going to give us much faster travel options. Well, this is an incentive location, but we can come back here later. So Crescent Lake leads to Marsh Cave. That was a really quick dive to get to the bottom of that and figure out what was there. Crescent Lake is another of our incentive locations, but this one we'll have to actually light the Earth Orb in order to see what is here. What do we have for level 6 magic? We have Soft Expert. We've got Quake and Ice 2. That's, I mean, I guess that's something. And what class do we have for hire here? We have White Mages. Not what I'm looking to buy right now. Now we're going to find all the towns, it looks like. So Ice Cave is Elfland. Volcano was Crescent Lake. Level 3 magic. We've got Fire 3. We've got Brack. So finally we have access to really feel like we're starting to play the game. We will pick up Harm 2. That'll give us an option for damage against undead at least. The rest of the spells in level 3 were pretty much garbage for that White Mage. Cure 2, Harm 4, and Ruse are all good spells. More damage against undead, raising the evade of the caster by 80, and the ability to heal. Here we go, Nuke, Quad X. We have the killing options on the table now. Still no incentive item in our shop. Pro rings for purchase. That is going to be 8 more absorb for all of our characters, as well as resistance against the death element. That's going to be a very nice addition for our defenses. So now we can actually survive some damage. That's going to be really nice for us. And, ooh, a red mage. Do I want to hire a red mage? Kind of. No, I think the answer is just yes. I want to hire a red mage, so we're going to replace our thief with a red mage, and we're going to get him Nuke. So that way he has the ability to actually kill things. So we will now have 4 participating members of this party, which will be very nice for us. We'll pick up Fire 3 and, or Fire 2 and Brack as well while we're here. Okay. And we'll go get some level 1 magic for our red mage as well. So for our red mage, we're probably not going to take Zap. We're going to take Temper, we're going to take Lock 2, and we're going to take Life. Oh, we can't get Life yet. We'll have to wait until class change, that's right. Alright, so now we can do some more exploration. So let's go ahead and pick up that herb, since it's just a free key item for us sitting in the open. Every key item is giving us 10% experience points in gold, as well as the progression through the game that it allows. So every time we can pick up those key items, it's really big for us. Warp is also level 2, so let me go stop by and get Warp before we start really exploring on the red mage. What was our level 2 white magic? Heal 3 and Invis 2. So let's get Lightning 3, and I think Invis 2 is going to be better for us than Heal 3. Unfortunately, we have to make a choice like that. Those are both really good spells, but only 3 spells on the level, so it's a little bit annoying. And we found that Elfland was a Fiend dungeon, and specifically a Fiend dungeon with a quick and center check for us, so we're going to go get that. There's also a couple chests here that I can check out. Actually, let's just go ahead and reset. There's nothing in that room that I want. We don't really want to fight these guys. It's a bit annoying. But we actually have Nuke now, so we can, you know, do some real damage. Oh, and it turns out the Gurpies actually don't have much HP. So that's actually really nice. That might be how we get some levels now. If they're dying to a single Lit 3, I have plenty of Lit 3 charges, and I have plenty of houses. So we probably want to get to about level 20-ish, I think, here. Assuming that these guys will actually keep giving me decent enough experience points that this is possible to grind that quickly. Looks like it's going to be the case. We're still gaining levels really quickly, and we're already level 15, so that'll be a good level for us to go to. Like they are pretty high on absorb, so Jim's not doing a whole lot of damage to them, but that's okay because they don't have a whole lot of HP. So there we go. We now are starting to get some decent amounts of HP under our belt. This is starting to look a lot better for this party. And the black belt's starting to be able to actually punch them down, so... level 15 to 17, that's probably good enough. Let's go ahead and just warp on out of here. And we will use a house to restore our spell charges. So that takes care of those 5 chests. Are there any more rooms on this floor? It's like not over that way. About down this way. Metal slimes are worth quite a lot of XP, so a 6-pack of these guys is definitely something I will fight. Oh, and they also don't have very many HP, so that's pretty nice. It's pretty nice indeed. Okay, looks like there's no other chests on this floor. And that one fight's not enough for me to really be worried about saving, so we'll just move on. We'll go get our incentive item, and then we'll fight this fiend. Worms. Well, let's find out if they go down to a couple of nukes. Because if they go down to a couple of nukes, then this is definitely where we want to get our experience points. This is one of the highest XP fights in the game, particularly if you end up getting a 4-worm pack on this encounter. It's worth a ton of experience points. Fortunately, it looks like they rolled high in the HP department, so we're going to take this fight, and then we're not going to take any more of these worms. Sadly, they are off the table for us. They're just eating up way too many nuke charges. Did I mention they were eating way too many nuke charges? There we go. So one more round, and this worm should go down to gem punching. Good experience points, but too many HP. You can go ahead and just punch out these mud goals to the end. We've got 2 temper casters, so buffing up goes pretty quickly. And then after we check this chest, we'll go ahead and warp out and then fight the fiend that is here. Yeah, now we're starting to punch for lots of damage on this black belt. 2 temper casters with a black belt is just so much damage. Not to mention we also have the power gauntlets, so in a time of need I can really buff the strength of my black belt quite rapidly. So there is our slab. So off we go. So our fiend here is Lich. Lich is a bit of a pushover. We will just make sure this goes as smoothly as possible and buff up our black belt a bunch. Looks like Lich has fire too, though, so we don't want to spend too much time buffing. Lich's magic defense is also low enough that he is susceptible to zap, and I did get an instant kill there. So there's our first orb. So we never have to come back here again. There's another dungeon that's here. We might as well finish this off while we're in the area. We're going to go ahead and check this chest while we're here. It is linked to another chest that is in one of the marsh cave floors, but we don't want to have to come back here. Oh, this is Sarda's cave, which I need to be able to... Well, I have to kill the vampire before I can get the item from Sarda. So I will have to come back here later. I guess while we're in the area, let's go ahead and light our second orb. There is a fiend up here, and I do have Brack, so Tiamat should die fairly simply, so long as I can get the Bracks off before the big nasty punches come out. We don't want to use spell charges of the same level as Brack, so we'll use nukes. These guys have Stone Touch, so not exactly what I want to see. Stone Touch on an unrunnable is not fun. Looks like not too much HP though, so one more round and we will have this fight down. A couple of soft potions will get our characters right back in the game. Sandworms are nice. They're worth a good bit of XP, so we will take this fight. And that went down extremely fast. So we will likely take every sandworm fight that we run across. I would really like to not lose more people to these Stone Touch Frost Dragons. So hopefully I get some good damage rolls on these nukes. Oh, we got a critical hit with the Black Belt, so that's nice. There we go. There are just so many encounters here. I should probably have more strongly considered taking those rock goals. They're worth a lot of experience points. But I kind of want to just kill this fiend. It's still a risky gamble whether or not I'll actually be able to kill it. Brack has a decent accuracy against Tiamat. However, she was hitting for a whole lot of damage when we came here earlier. We do have a lot better of a armor situation going on now, so that will be mitigated a bit, but it's still going to be dangerous. So we're going to use the Power Gauntlet on Hugh in case we need to power up more physical attacks, and we're going to throw out 2 Bracks, as well as raise our character's evasion. Yep, that's still pretty nasty. And there goes our evade caster. One more chance for Brack. Come on now. Get him, Bill. Still no. Last charge? No. Okay. So Tiamat still hits pretty hard, so we're not going to bother. We'll come back for that. We have an entrance to check at Melmond. We found a dungeon there, but that's something we're going to have to explore a little bit deeper. So there's a good number of chests here, so we definitely want to check these. We have found 2 of our 7 loose items so far, and there's another ribbon. Another ribbon is very nice. we are going to use warp to try and make this a little bit faster as we're exploring this area. I should have used a house when I was back on the overworld in order to save that ribbon, but I forgot. Okay, there's our third ribbon. So that's actually 3 of our 7 loose items, since the ribbon is included in the incentive pool. And we're gonna leave that actually. Well, no, we're gonna use the. We're gonna move the ribbon to the life caster. Actually, we have another life caster, so yeah, we'll leave the ribbon right there. So there we go. So that's 3 of our loose items. So we've got 4 more to go. Ah, we have found Elfland Castle. And Elfland Castle has Dr. Un. Well, we have the slab, so we can get that translated at least. And we don't have the Mystic Key to open the Elfland Treasury chests. So we will have to come back for that later. Alright, so on we go. Check out more entrances. This is Onrak. And does not have our incentive item. Titan Tunnel West is Onrak, and at the pub we have Fighters. So Fighters a decent option to pick up, but I want to stick with my my Magic Casters and my Black Belt. Life 2 and Wall being available for the White Mage is really nice. Ice 3 and Fast as well. So we're going to definitely want to come back here. Ice 3, Fast, Life 2, Wall. So that's pretty nice. So we've got just one more entrance to check over here, and then we'll start heading up to the northern half of the world. So we are not interested in ogres and creeps. We are still not interested in ogres and creeps. There we go. We are still not interested. Go away. Frostgators letting me ambush. That's pretty nice. Anytime you get a first strike, you can automatically run away from combat, so that is definitely a welcome sight. So we found out these worms have a lot of HP, but what we're going to do this time around is, rather than throwing a bunch of nukes at them, we're going to buff up our black belt and we're going to punch these worms into oblivion. So that's probably enough buffs. Taking them out in 2 punches, that's pretty good. We'll call that a win. Again, this is just, it's such a good experience point fight that I don't want to pass it up. So I wanted to be able to fight these guys, but I didn't want to have to spend a huge number of my nukes for using up my resources for AoE clearing. So by buffing, I can conserve my resources and save those nukes for something else that is a bigger threat, probably. So although these worms are very high on the HP category, they're not really that dangerous to me right now, it looks like. There we go, there's level 20 on a couple of our characters. Heal back up. Okay, so there's the stairs down. So we'll take a quick peek in here. I guess we'll go ahead and dive to the bottom of this first, and then we'll come back for those chests. Okay, so this is something that we will visit once and never again, because dead ends are boring. Do we have any rooms up here? We do have a room up here. It was worthless. We have another room up here. So our black belt, now that he's level 20, is really starting to do some good damage. So he's going to start contributing a whole lot more. And that's going to be really nice for us. Okay, I think that's all of the rooms here. But I am going to just double check just to be sure. We'll take another one of these worm fights. So, what are we looking for at this point? We found the floater, so that opened up a lot of the world to us, but we really would like to see the canoe. That's going to open up basically the rest of the world to us, and that'll be pretty nice. Aside from that, we still have to find the Mystic Key and the loot. Those are required items to beat the game. And we still need to find our other two fiends. And then we actually have to kill all these fiends, of course, too, so. But we are definitely making a lot of really good progress. So right now we're at the 1 hour 15 mark, so this is I would say pretty on pace for a seed like this. There's a lot of exploration to do in this kind of flag set, and given how the early game was pretty trolly with not letting us explore very quickly because we didn't have access to camping gear, we've made pretty good time. So I'm just throwing out these bracks just in case I can land an instant kill and make this fight just a little bit faster. At this point, with just one more, though, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to punch them out until they die. It's really amazing the amount of work that the developers of the Final Fantasy Randomizer have put into this. It's fantastic because I grew up playing Final Fantasy, and you know, once you've played the game, once you've explored through the RPG, there's only so much enjoyment to be had out of going through it again. And with the randomizer and making every experience that you go through it different, whether it be a different set of flags or just different RNG on the same flags, it really just breathes fresh life into the game, and it's so enjoyable. So huge shout outs to Entroper, who was the original developer of Final Fantasy Randomizer, and all the people that have jumped on board since then too. Nits and Leggy Starscream and Septimus and many, many more. Nicolette. There's a strong community of developers for this game, and they're always working on putting out new features. This particular seed is built off of the beta website, which is where we work on testing new features that are being added into the game, both beta and alpha. And it's always a joy to be able to see what kind of new things they come up with and play through them and mess around. There's a lot of really cool features that I wanted to show off in this run that would not have been available if I had done this on the live website. Tavern mode being one of those. The procedurally generated random floor layouts for the waterfall and the 2 earth cave floors that we ran across. There's a 4th ribbon? Okay. I was not expecting a 4th ribbon. There's normally only 3. I might have turned on the random treasures, which rather than just shuffling the treasures throughout the game, actually randomly distributes different treasures. So you could end up in a situation where you have more ribbons than normal, or you find multiple opal bracelets or Masmunes or things like that. So I'm guessing that I just turned on that feature. It wasn't really intentional, but it adds an interesting layer to the game, so not exactly particularly good or bad for the purposes of this run. I'm not worried about the fact that that it's on, even if I didn't mean to have it on. It's not going to make the game particularly harder or easier, so it's just going to make it a bit different. This bat is in my way. He really needs to move. My bat. There we go. Bats are jerks. They're the closest thing that we have to birds outside of battle anyway. We actually do have birds in battle. Yeah, the fact that I just found 2 mage staffs there definitely confirms that random treasures is on. There's normally only 1 mage staff in the game. So, at this point, we're really just focusing on trying to explore to the bottom of these dungeons. We want to find our incentive items that are going to allow us to progress through the rest of the game, and we want to find our fiends that we're going to have to kill to open up the final dungeon. Again, we still do need a couple of required key items. Other than that, we don't know if we'll need other key items. So I could end up in a situation where I need, for instance, the ruby or something like that. Although at this point, it's not very likely for me to need the ruby. The ruby normally allows you to feed the Titan and open up passage between the Titan Tunnel East and Titan Tunnel West entrances. And given that we already have the airship, it's not very likely that we will have to feed the Titan to gain access through it. So here these guys are just being jerks, ambushing me, wasting my time. Oh, lobsters have Cure 4, so we found the random enemy in the game that has Cure 4. That's a thing. It's a little bit terrifying, to be honest. Lobsters tend to do quite a bit of damage. And we found a heal staff. Heal staff in the vanilla game, it lets you cast the heal spell in battle, which It sounds really great. It sounds like it's an item that would allow you to save some resources in combat. In practice, it is too slow in the randomizer to really be useful. It just heals too little HP to be worth the turn, even on a character that doesn't have a lot else to do. For instance, my White Mage doesn't have great combat options, but even there, I wouldn't really consider using the heal staff. She has better things to do. I would rather use a spell like Fog 2, for instance, that is going to prevent damage for the rest of the battle, rather than heal a very minor amount of HP. So here we're just trying to check all these chests, see if we can find anything decent. There's our loot. Okay, so that is, again, a required item. We have to have that to beat the game. That loot is almost enough to make me consider going and saving my progress now. But we have found our next fiend. We have found Lich. Well, we have found the Earth Cave B5. This does not necessarily mean that this is Lich, because the fiends have been shuffled around. And we have in fact already killed Lich, so we found Kraken. That's not exactly what I wanted to see. So we're going to try and stack some Invis 2s as quickly as possible, because Kraken hurts a lot. And we're going to throw out some Brax to try and kill Kraken. Hopefully we can actually get this kill in. Both because I'm no longer able to escape from this, so I'm locked into this fight unless I reset. But we found that loot, so we want to be able to walk that loot out of here. Additionally, lighting this Earth Orb is going to allow us to talk to the Sages in Crescent Lake and get the key item that they have. So this is definitely something worthwhile for us to be checking out. You have a Mage Staff, and that's better than you doing nothing, so we'll do that. So you saw how much damage Jim got hit for. He got 11 hits for 700. Now Jack's only getting hit for about 30 because we've been stacking all this evasion. Makes a huge difference. And in fact, I'm going to continue to stack some Fog 2, so that way if I do end up getting hit, it does less damage. But we did get the Brack to land. We finally broke Kraken into pieces. And we will revive our Black Belt. And that is our second orb. So, Hardy Grassy was a Fiend dungeon, and we have cleared the dungeon. So we are going to take a moment to go turn in, go get that key item from that circle of sages. So that's over at the volcano, so we'll talk to them. We'll see what they have for us. We do also have the TNT that we can turn into the dwarves while we're over in the area. And another fun option that we have in the randomizer is what's referred to as the Confused Old Men. Normally this is a circle of sages. They are nice and organized, and they play nice. Oh, there's our incentive item. It's the Opal Bracelet. So, decent item. Not exactly the item we were hoping for, but that's okay, because it is going to provide the best defense for any of our classes at the game on a chess piece. But with that Confused Old Man flag, they roam about and get all mixed up, so you end up having to talk to a bunch of them and figure out which one it is that has your item. Sometimes you get lucky and it's the first one that you talk to, and other times not so much. Well, there's the chimes. That opens up another entrance for us. So that's nice. So we're gonna check A couple of these entrances that don't take long to walk to. So we're going to check Gaia first. Gaia is Melmond, which has the Elf Doctor, we know. So I'm going to warp just to save ourselves a little bit of time while we're running around. Well, we can't pick up Bane until after class change, but we're going to pick up Locke. Locke is going to allow me to reduce enemies' evasion. Ooh. Here are some nice spells. So Fade finally gives our White Mage something really strong to do in battle. And we're also able to pick up Fade for our Red Mage, so that's really nice. So now we have a lot of AoE options available to us. So Gaia was Melmond. And we're going to go see what is at the Mirage Tower entrance. And it turns out that it is the Marsh Split. So this has a branching path, so this is going to lead us to two different things. So the split dungeons that are in this game, the Marsh Split and the Sea Split, are pretty powerful in Thorn Entrance Shuffle. When you find them, it means you know, a lot of progression can open up. Alright, so on the top side we have the Sea Split. So we have a really big dungeon here. This is going to take a while to explore, but it's probably going to be pretty useful. We're going to have a whole lot of things. So, Marsh Split up and down leads to Sea Split. This overture should be just about dead. There we go. So again, we still have more loose items, so we still have to be thorough about the boxes that we're checking. Never know when a random street chest is going to have a required item that you need to beat the game. Okay, so Sea Split right led to Mermaids. Well, this is nice, because this is a whole lot of free chests that we have access to now, as well as an incentive location. One of these chests in this room over here is an incentive. And our incentive item is the Oxyale. So that opens up yet another dungeon for us. So some more money. At this point, we really have all the equipment that we need for endgame. We have a lot of ribbons. We're going to be plenty protected from status magics. We have strong absorb from our gear, so we don't really need anything as far as equipment-wise. So really, it's just find our items that are going to allow us to beat the game and progress at this point. Aha! Well, we have found the vampire. So, Sea Split right was Mermaids. Sea Split left is Rod. So we'll check all these chests while we're in here. Including this annoying out-of-the-way one that nobody likes to check, but you kind of have to. I'll be right back as I'm getting something to drink. Alright, so that fight goes down without too much effort. We're not particularly interested in a lot of these random fights. We do still need more levels before we can beat the game, but we will probably be getting those on a intentional grind, where we will likely use some kind of trap tile or another to quickly build up our experience points on a forced fight. Something that won't take us very long to find. Some options that I'm considering so far that we found the worm trap tile, which could be a decent backup. There is the 1 or 2 fighter tile that we found a lot earlier. So definitely a couple of options. And I'm using a combination of a HTML tracker as well as keeping things in my head to remember things that I need to go back to and whatnot. I should probably be more conservative with my Lit 3s. Those are also the same level that Warp has. However, we do now have Exit, so that's not too bad. It will save us quite a bit on our resources. So here we have the vampire, and we have to kill him in order to get our item from Sarda. So we are going to do that. And he goes down without too much difficulty. Ah, we also have the adamant. Okay. So another key item for us. We will go ahead and exit all the way out and save before exploring the bottom side. Here we have a volcano floor. So anytime you see me walking across these lava tiles, that's actually very intentional. They damage you 1 HP per character when you walk across them. However, anytime you're walking across those lava tiles, they are steps that do not generate random battles. So it is much faster in general to walk across these lava tiles rather than to risk getting into random battles and potentially losing a bunch of time or even dying to something particularly nasty. So again, we're just really not interested in a lot of these fights. We're now able to pretty safely traverse through a lot of these dungeons, so I'm not as focused about getting the experience points. I will later just do like a 5-minute grind to get all the levels that we need. It could potentially take a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but it will be much faster rather than spending the time fighting everything that I come across. Now these badmen are interesting. They tend to have a lot of damage, but they're worth a decent amount of experience points. I got the first strike on them, so I decided to go ahead and just run away anyway. But I could have used them as a test to figure out if they had low HP and were worth fighting. So here we have some more worms. Again, we're going to take this fight. It's a ton of experience points. In fact, if I had the means to do so, I would probably just use this as my grind now. But unfortunately, I'm not quite doing enough damage right away with my black belt. People are starting to get pretty low on HP, so heal 3 is going to come in and save the day. Restores quite a bit of HP. There we go. Now we're doing the damage. We're going to use some more Invis 2s. We want to keep our black belt alive since we've stacked all the damage on him. See, now Jim's actually starting to do the damage that we need to be able to consider these worms as a grind. Definitely need to remember to heal up after this battle, as we've taken quite a bit of damage. And one last worm. So there's level 24 now for a lot of my characters. Still one character level 23, but that's pretty good. For me to really consider those worms a viable grind, I would probably really need to get to level 32. That's the next breakpoint for my black belt. He'll jump from having 6 hits on a physical attack to having 8 hits, and he will do a bunch more damage. And I just realized that I forgot to check what was in the chest. But I want to save some time, so we're going to just run away from these worms this time. Nothing important, but you don't want to leave a stone unturned, so... We know these sandworms don't have too much HP, so we'll just physical attack it until it dies. Well, there's a lot of volcano floors here. So I'm starting to get pretty low on heal potions. So that's something that I have to keep in mind as I'm diving this dungeon further and further. Unfortunately, I also don't have the Mystic Key. So that means I can't check all of the chests on this floor. Because there is a single chest in this floor that is locked by the Mystic Key. It is that room right there. It has a kind of a reverse C pattern to it. Unfortunately, I do not have the access to go in there, so if there ends up being a required item there, that is something we will have to come back for. So hopefully that is not the case, but it always could be. And we're getting a ton of fights right here. A lot of packs in a row, not a good time. And just to show it, this door is locked by the Mystic Key. So, it's not that I'm being lazy, I just cannot check that chest. We got one more room. And what's here? We have the Sky Maze. Well, Iron Golems are worth a lot of experience points, so we will take this fight. Excuse me. So down, 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 left. So this is another fun thing that the devs have done for the randomizer. Normally this is a room that is colloquially referred to as the Sky Maze. And normally it is a endless loop that you just kind of have to know how to go through it. And this will actually let me test the HP of those fighters, so I'm pretty happy about that. But normally you would just go like left 2, up 2, or up 2, left 2, or right 2, down 2, and you could just get right to the teleporter. However, with the maze option that our devs have built, it adds a bunch of walls and shuffles the positions of the teleporters, so you have to find your way through the maze. It can be a little bit annoying, but it can also just add a little bit of extra fun. So I wanted to just include that in this run to show it off. Give shout-outs to the devs. Put a lot of work into some of these features, and want to give them as much exposure as possible. Okay, so it does look like those fighters have relatively low HP. So that's something we will be looking at taking. And I have gotten myself pretty lost trying to do this because I've been talking. So hopefully I will be able to actually find my way back here if we have to come through again. This is definitely one of the more maze-like mazes that I've encountered. Alright, so we're pretty high levels. I'm gonna just warp because I've gotten lost at this point, so I know I have to go down to start. We have Harm 4, we have some Fire 2, so these Vampire packs worth a pretty decent amount of experience points, and this is one of those opportunities where we can actually use the Harm 4 spell to our advantage. Again, it's only useful on undead, so when I find a pack like this, that's the right opportunity to use it. It's going to do a good amount of damage to these guys. Actually, it takes out the Wizard Vampire before the regular vampires. In the vanilla game, Wiz Vamps are stronger than regular vampires, but in the randomizer, and especially with the stat shuffled this high, you never know what you're going to get. That was a lot of damage. Fortunately, I have life 2 to be able to bring my characters right back up to speed. Okay, so it definitely is down, down. So down, down. Not right. Maybe left. Aha! Down, 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 right, up. Down, 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 right, up. So there we go. Now we know how to get through the maze again. So this is another floor that has an incentive location for us. So we're going to get an incentive here. And then just the tail, so we can promote, which is actually really helpful. By promoting, our black belt can turn into a master, and in the randomizer, we have a fix for the magic defense growth. In the base vanilla game, the black belt has 4 magic defense per level growth, but the master only has 1. So normally promoting is somewhat disadvantageous for a black belt, as they stop gaining good magic defense growth per level. However, with that fix on, it actually sets the base black belt to 3 magic defense per level and the master to 4, meaning that promoting will always be beneficial for a class. And these Gurmaduces are worth a ton of experience points, so I definitely don't want to pass them up. So onward we go. There's another Pro Cape, so we will take that. Nope, we don't want to warp, actually. I really wish this encounter table was a little bit more favorable. Feels like just way too many fights. Aha! We have located another fiend. So this in fact has to be Carrie. We've seen all of the other fiends so far. Gas dragons are worth a ton of experience points. Hopefully they don't have too many HP and I can take these guys down. Oh yeah, these guys are much more favorable. So if I can find the 2 to 4 gas dragon trap tile, that would probably be the best option for me, because that was 10,000 experience points, and it took basically no time, so definitely a nice find. Alright, so this should be Carrie, since we found all the other fiends. So we're going to temper up, we're going to use Invis 2, we're going to temper up, we're going to make that black belt do a ton of damage on these physical attacks. Although it looks like Carrie is also doing a ton of damage. So that's not the most ideal. We're going to try and stun Carrie. She is susceptible to status magic. She's actually weak to it. It has a pretty decent chance to land on her. So hopefully we can paralyze her and make this fight a little bit easier for ourselves. Carrie's throwing out Thunder, which in the early game definitely would have been very nasty. Now it's not so bad with all those ribbons that I have. And we are not having any luck trying to land this stun. We'll try one last time. There we go, we got the stun. So that's going to buy us a little bit of time. That'll be pretty nice. So now what? So you've got some fades. You have... I guess we'll throw out some Fog 2s, or do you have something better to do? You do have a Wizard Staff, so we'll throw that out, actually. And, we do have one nuke left. There we go. We got her. Alright, so... took out Carrie. So, at this point, we really just need the Mystic Key and to kill the Fourth Fiend and to locate the Temple of Fiends entrance. So we are doing pretty good. Sarda's Cave was at Elfland Castle. We can go do that now. We can also talk to the Elf Prince now that he's been revived to get our key item from him. Looks like the rock ghouls actually have less HP than the mud ghouls, so we will keep that in mind and punch mud ghouls if we get that encounter again. We have another dungeon, so we do have to continue exploring these dungeons because we have to locate the final dungeon. Since we don't know where that is yet, gonna have to just keep looking. So, this is normally a later game dungeon, and we're finding just a ton of not very dangerous things here. So, this is something that can be kind of funny about the way the randomized encounter zones works. T-Rexes don't have that many HP. That's pretty nice. Where sometimes you find a dungeon that is normally very safe in the beginning of the game, and it can be very dangerous, and sometimes you find these late game dungeons that are normally very dangerous and now not so much. So we have Thunder again. Again, we have ribbons for days, so not too worried about that. So moving onward. Still need to be checking chests because there are still loose items. And if the Mystic Key happens to be that loose item, I definitely do not want to miss it. So again, we're just using warp to save ourselves steps. The fewer random encounters I get, the less time it's going to take me to get through here, so definitely want to minimize steps wherever possible. Okay. And this is a dead end. So we never have to come back here, which is good news, actually, because it's kind of annoying to get to Lefane, so anytime you can take care of that in one trip, that's a very welcome sight. So many random encounters, and we don't want anything to do with any of these. that is kind of one problem of the randomizers, that when you get in these long seeds, you end up just running from a lot of fights because there's only so many fights that give really good experience points in the game, and given that we're doing things in a very random order in this kind of flag set, there's a lot that you'll end up running away from. Ah, Lefane. Okay, so this is another of our incentive locations. So we will see what we get from you. And it's the ruby. Not terribly exciting, but okay. So, Cardia Forest is Lefane. So we still have a couple of incentive locations to check. Cardia Tiny is Gaia. Sleep and Dice are no good. I don't think I've seen Cure 4 yet, so I still want to be on the lookout for Cure 4. Aha, there it is. So that's a bit of a nuisance. I will almost 100% need to come back for that. Cure 4 fully restores a party member's HP, and it makes it so much safer diving the endgame dungeons. Being able to fully restore a character's HP in battle is incredibly powerful. So here we're gonna stock back up on some items. Fortunately, unlike in the vanilla game, I can actually buy 10 items at a time. It was a wonderful feature added by our devs. Makes it much, much faster to stock up on items. In the vanilla game, you would have to buy items individually every single time, and it took a lot of time. Well, we don't need a ribbon, so that's a bit unfortunate. We do have the cube, so we can explore this dungeon. Scum are not what we're interested in. Aha! We have found Temple of Fiends. So they are in... It is in Cardia Double Bottom. So we are going to kill off Garland. And this will take no time at all. We will rescue the princess. And then we will check these last 3 items. And at this point, since we now know where Temple of Fiends is, we're going to go ahead and just exit on out. We're going to check our incentive items that we have left to turn in. I'm going to see what this entrance is real quick. Actually, this is the Titan's Tunnel. So I'm going to check this real quick. Because that has an incentive item in it. Good. Okay. So... Corneria Castle was Dwarf Cave, and we have an Adamant to turn in. Again, we're only looking for the Mystic Key. We don't care about absolutely anything else. That's the canoe. Okay. Matoya's Cave was Titan's Tunnel East. Corneria Castle, we've now rescued Princess Sarah, so let's go check out what she has for us. she has a white shirt, which we will take, as that allows us to cast Invis 2 indefinitely in battle. So that is a welcome sight. Speaking of which, we do want to get promoted. Matoya's Cave was Bahamut, so we should do that. Sardis Cave was Elfin Castle. We have an item we can check there. There's our Mystic Key. Okay. So now, let's go to Matoya's Cave and visit Bahamut to get our class change. Get out of my way, Catman. Alright, so there's a couple things we need to do. So I need to rehire my black belt so that way he can get the full MDef growth for his levels. I want to say that was on rack. No, that was fighter. But I believe fast was here. And that's very important to get. Volcano was Crescent Lake, Ice Cave was Elfland. So let's check those two real quick. So I did not mark down where the black belt was hireable at, which I should have. Was it Provoca? Maybe it was Provoca. Yeah, there it is. Alright. So now, Jim has much better magic defense. And that's very good. So let's go ahead and go kill off our fourth fiend. So that was at Temple of Fiends, which had Tiamat. So we just need to kill Tiamat, and then find where we want to get our experience points at. And then get levels and win. starting to get up to the point where enemies are starting to run away from us, and that's going to help a little bit as we're going through. Rock goals I can punch out in one round. Apparently even my Black Wizard can take him out in one round, thanks to this new Cat Claw. Grims want nothing to do with me. Okay. So we are going to buff up and try and actually kill Tiamat this time. Some decent turn order, and Tiamat decided to use Blaze this time around, so that's pretty nice. We are still going to throw out the Brax and see if we can't land that. Oh yeah, we also need to stop up at Gaia and get Cure 4. Fortunately, that's right next to where Temple of Fiends is, so I can do that on my way into the final dungeon. And we got the broken into pieces. There we go. Okay. So where do we want to grind? I think maybe I can actually do the worm grinds now. That's still the best option that I've found for experience points so far. And I don't want to take too much time digging. Actually, that's not where I want to go. I want to go over here. Jim's not quite doing as much damage as I want him to do, but he'll quickly gain to level 32, and at that point he'll be doing 2 additional hits, and that should be where I want his damage to be for this grind. We are starting to make it. Actually, I can go ahead and just use Fast on Jim, so that way he'll get twice as many attacks, and that will go even faster. So there we go. Now with Fast and a couple Tempers, Jim should definitely be able to one-shot these worms. Fast doubles the amount of attacks that a character has, so all those buffs are essentially going to be twice as powerful. They'll have even more opportunities to critically hit, and this grind will go pretty fast now. So I'm thinking now about doing a 2-man grind, so that way this grind goes a little bit faster. So I'm going to leave the Red Wizard and the Master up, and they're going to grind, although I think we'll eventually get to the 2-man grind, but I do still want to get more HP on my Black Mage and my White Mage. Because they're going to need HP to be able to survive some of the final bosses that we're going to be running across. I do have life too, so I'll be able to revive them in combat, but getting them some more HP at least to start off with is going to be a good thing, I think. So the reason I'm doing this grind is because the bosses in the final dungeon are going to be from 100% to 200%, or 100% to 300%, sorry. And the boss at the end is going to be an alternate final boss, meaning that it is going to be a dangerous fight. That much is assured. So we're going to go ahead and de-equip all of the armor on our mages, so they can die off a little bit easier, and we'll start to funnel the experience points into the master primarily. Go. That's one character dead, so now only 3 people will share the experience points. How much damage can we do without having fast? Can we already one-shot them, or are we not quite there yet? Okay, we're not quite there yet, but between the fast and temper, that's gonna do the job pretty well. Or between the temper and just punching. I'll still be able to two-shot these guys even without doing any buffs, so this is gonna be plenty fast enough for this grind. Especially once that white mage dies off, then we'll be getting experience very quickly on the black belt. Okay, so it looks like these runners have 11 to 1200 HP-ish. And in the meantime, if the white mage does get extra EXP, that's not a big deal. Because the white mage having extra health to be able to survive battles and revive characters is a good thing. So bear with me for just a few minutes longer. This is going to be a grind to level 42. That's when our black belt is going to get up to having 10 hits without any fast buffs. And that's when he'll really start doing just insane amounts of damage in the end game. That was a weak hit. There we go. So you can see now I'm really gaining a lot of experience points compared to just trying to take fights as I go through the game. This is much, much faster. Now we're going to funnel that experience points into just 2 people. we go. There's 5 more levels to go now. We'll put our black belt back in the front of the party. Okay, so they do have a little more than 1,200, so 12 to 1,300 it looks like. There we go, so level 39 now, just 3 more levels. And every level up, the black belt is getting an additional 2 attack power. So he's gaining a lot of damage. Oh, now he's actually even able to one-shot them without any buffs. So that's really good. It's not a guarantee, but able to. Alright, so we need just 2 more levels, and hopefully this last fight will do it for us. So I'm just calculating the damage that I'm doing and spreading my attacks based on where I need to distribute the damage next. There we go, there's level 42. So now we can pick our party back up. We will head up to Gaia and pick up Cure 4. And then we will go on and try to beat the game. And Gaia was at Cardia Tiny. Now, you might be asking, boy, there's a lot of time left compared to your estimate. We're only at, 2 hours and 15 minutes? Why a 3-hour estimate? Well, that's because this is going to be a dangerous final dungeon. It is long. There are going to be a lot of bosses that could really trip me up. So I'm just giving a conservative estimate in case this final dungeon is very dangerous. It is probable that I will not clear this in a single dive. I will probably have to gain information, adapt strategies, and really kind of plan and figure out how I want to tackle this final dungeon. So, despite there looking like there's a whole lot of time on the clock and me entering into the final dungeon, it's not quite that simple. Alright, here we go. So I'm doing a hard reset again, so that way if I end up needing to manipulate counters, I can. I'll plan out where the nasty fights are that I need to avoid, if any. And hopefully we'll have some decent luck. I mean, at this point, I can just punch out these Agamas, so I feel like I might as well just punch and run. And this blue tealish palette is a really nice color for this Temple of Fiends. I like it. Oh, they're actually surviving a punch from a level 32 black belt. Or 42 black belt. Never mind then. Gas Dragons, on the other hand, they were pretty weak, so we're gonna just punch you down. So I think if there was any item that we could have seen that I haven't really seen along the way, the one that I would want to see would be the defense sword. It has the ability to cast ruse on the user in battle, and it would be a really nice addition for this party for the final dungeon. However, I don't have it, so gonna just have to make do without, but that's okay. We have this. So there I was just checking my Black Belt's absorb. Black Belt has 1 absorb per level if you have him completely unequipped. Right now my equipment is providing 43 absorb, and he would have 43 absorb from his level, so I might as well leave him equipped. I could potentially decide to swap to not having him with equipment. So here's Lich 2, and normally Lich 2 does not deserve respect. He's not a very dangerous guy. However, I'm going to be just a little bit mindful, given that he is 1 to 300%. So we will actually use some of our resources, just not any of our important resources on this fight. And we did a ton of damage that first round, so we're not going to spend any more resources. We're going to just punch him out. And that is 1 of our bosses down. So we'll have the other fiends to go. Oh, we have unrunnable phantoms. This is not what we want. Looks like they're not punching for too hard, so that's really nice. Phantoms normally are very dangerous and can do a lot of damage. There we go. All these hags are going to just run away because my Black Belt is level 43 and very scary to all these enemies. Enemies have a chance to run based on the difference of their morale compared to your level. And given that I have a level 43 Black Belt at the front of my party, everything is going to be very scared of him. They're all going to try and run away. Well, not everything, but a lot of things will try to run away. As evidenced by 3 times of these hags ambushing me, and them all running away rather than actually trying to attack me. So here we have Carry 2. Carry 2 is definitely a fiend that deserves respect. She tends to have a lot of damage if she is physically attacking you, so I want to be cognizant of that. So we're going to heal up before this battle, top all of our characters off. We are going to punch to see what kind of damage we're looking at doing so far. I'm going to throw out 2 Invis 2s, and we're going to throw out a Fast. So Invis 2s are going to buff up my evade, and Carrie is starting with Fast, so she is also looking to do a ton of physical damage to me. Looked like she doesn't have too much evade, so we're going to go ahead and just we're going to just throw out a couple of nukes just to make this fight go just a little bit faster. Never mind, we're going to punch her for all of her HP. So our first 2 bosses haven't been too dangerous, but we're coming up on Kraken 2, and Kraken 2 is when the final dungeon really starts being scary. Kraken 2, even in the vanilla game, can punch you for hundreds and hundreds of damage. I have seen Kraken 2 punch for over 2,000 damage. Or not over... Well, was it over 2,000? I think it was like 1,500 damage in the randomizer. It was a lot. It was enough. So we are going to swap the position of our Black Wizard and Master, so that way Kraken is less likely to punch my Master, as he is the character that we definitely want to be keeping safe during this. And we're going to, again, test the waters and see what Kraken's absorb and evade look like? Looks like not too bad. So we're going to try and stack evade as fast as possible again. Kraken started out with lightning too, so that's not too bad for us. We are going to throw out a nuke. Are we? No, we're going to throw out a temper, and we're going to continue buffing our evade, just in case we do not want Kraken to be punching us for a lot of damage. Instead, we're going to punch him for a lot of damage, and that is good. So move the Black Wizard back to the back of the party, keep him safe for any of these random encounters. And we're on to Tiamat 2. So once again, we're going to swap our positions. So, in the randomizer particularly, you definitely want to keep your damage dealers, your characters that are going to get you through the fight, safe. And so that's why I keep moving the Master to the back ranks. Tiamat 2 tends to have a lot of absorb and HP, so I'm going to go ahead and use a Power Gauntlet charge to saber up the Black Belt for more damage. Unfortunately, he did take out my fast caster before I was able to get the fast off, so that is a bit of a disappointment. However, it's not the end of the world. So we're going to actually throw out a lock and try and reduce Tiamat's evasion. Looks like she did evade a couple of attacks, so we're going to make it a little bit easier to hit her. There we go, 7 hits for 1,000, that's pretty good. We'll throw out one more. Ah, never mind, 4 hits for 1,000 damage, the fight is over. We are going to... Well, we're going to not worry about reviving the Black Mage just yet. Alright, now that we're on the final floor, we'll revive the Black Mage. There's still encounters that you can get between the Tiamat fight and the entrance to the final floor. So we're going to move the Black Belt and the Black Mage to the back, because I want to get the fast off this time. We have everybody topped off at full HP, we have weapons in a good position, armor... Oh. Not in a good position. And our alternate final boss is Hide and Seek Chaos. Okay. Not too bad. So we will start off by using 2 Invis 2s and a fast and a power bonk. So we're going to try and funnel as much damage as we can into that Master so that way he can punch Chaos for all of the damage. Ow, that was a lot of damage. But that's why we have Cure 4. So throw out another Invis 2. We want to use Cure 4 to keep our Master at full HP. We'll throw out a nuke to try and take out all the Garlands. And we use the Power Gauntlet again to continue increasing the Master's attack power. We really want that Cure 4 to go off before Chaos gets his turn. We don't want him to take out Jim. Fortunately, we have located which one is Chaos. Oh good, Chaos is starting to miss now with a physical attack, so that's really nice. So we'll throw out 2 more Invis 2s, we'll throw out another... Actually, we'll start throwing out a lock, since that's a... Since reducing the evasion is not something that the Master can do, whereas the Master can continue to raise his own attack power. Alright, so we've got almost max evade now, so we'll start switching over to using lock, and we'll start testing the waters to see what Chaos's evade and absorb look like. Oh, 10 hits for 1,800 damage. This is totally fine. So we'll continue tempering, we'll continue increasing our evasion, and Chaos is not long for this world now. We're going to punch him very hard. We'll throw out a healed 3. Chaos hasn't shown anything really nasty yet, so he's about due for a nasty AoE skill or spell. Or we'll just kill him. 14 hits for 3,000 damage, and that is the end of that. So, 2.5 hours, that's pretty typical for what I would expect for these. Again, I'm using my estimate of 3 hours in case things go particularly wrong. This seed was definitely hard in the beginning, but it didn't go too poorly. So, again, thank you, Power Up with Pride, and I hope that you enjoyed this run. And thank you for the consideration in possibly getting into the marathon. That's a wrap, and I hope you enjoyed the Chaos Shuffle. Have a great night.